hired me because they were like, well, how do you play violin by yourself? Who's going to listen to that? So I created my own stage. I don't believe in, stoppages. Things happen in life that try to stop you. So I just continued on. I became a street musician. My family did not like that. They were just like, wait, how did you leave this like salary position to go on the street and play music? Like, it was my passion. And I knew that if I kept with it, it would unfold. So fast forward all these years later, I have 3 children. Oldest is 13. Music is my primary career, even though I do some other things on the side for fun and also to contribute to society. And I was able to accomplish that dream. And now I've also created my own genre of how I play violin, meaning that I can just create a song on the spot, depending on what people want to hear. Just go with it. Is that a good explanation here? All right. I don't really have to give that out too much, but yeah. And then also along that path, I didn't know, but when I was in high school, I got the opportunity to perform at Carnegie Hall and St. Martin's in the Fields, which I guess people look at, those are like the 2, top-notch places to play. But I didn't do it by myself. I did it with the team. So yeah, it was pretty good. Any questions about that journey? Sure. Anybody in here play music? That's what's right. I tried to say that's what I had asked.
I love it. You play, can you bring me a saxophone and play?
We have a rapper.
Rappers, music. I'm actually the current music director for the Cincinnati Hip Hop Orchestra. How did you like that? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Actually, I probably would be able to play 1 or 2 of the tracks of what we did on that as well. But if you're, when you turn 18, if you're looking for an opportunity for that, I can actually extend, if you're serious, I can extend that opportunity. All right, hold on. Just because I don't know everybody, let me get one at a time. Sorry? Piano. Excellent. I got a keyboard up here, so if you think when you want to jam something out, you can definitely do that. Anybody else music? Yeah, down there.
Are you gonna be playing?
Bass. That's a sick instrument. I actually like jamming with a bass player. Violin? Okay then. Now I'm not gonna say you can play my violin, but I'm not. You understand how that works. Excellent, excellent. And yes, sir.
Yeah, I played in the middle school orchestra.
What was your instrument?
Violin.
Oh, okay. So, and anybody in here in a band currently with each other?
Nope.
I'm just saying that's a wasted
I played
opportunity.
the
Kazoo's a great instrument. You'd be surprised. And you're the rapper of the class.
No,
You're the rapper. So both of you are rappers. I mean, that could be great. Well, let me try to think about everything else.
I am baby.
Well, let me talk very briefly about how, since you all are in culinary arts, I guess how that has been a huge impact in my life. My first job, and I'm now thinking back, was in food. I was 14, and that's when I got my first paycheck, I think. I was working at a soft-serve, family-owned restaurant called the Big Dipper. It was my favorite place to get ice cream. I used to walk my brothers and sisters up the street, so on and so forth. And then, just based on that sense of responsibility, one day the owner said, "Hey, are you looking for a job?" I'm like, "What does that even mean?" But they described. They were like, "Well, we see that you seem like you're pretty responsible, and I was just buying my siblings ice cream and stuff from the money I earned from maybe breaking leaves or cutting grass." But that was my first job. So food has always been very important. After working there for a year, they closed down, moved out to Milford. Then I worked for Grader's. Grader's ice cream. Anybody familiar with that?
Yeah.
I mean, that was my whole high school career. So from the 8th grade all the way up, I stayed working at Grader's, got to know the family and the owners. Then after that, going to college and coming back, I worked for a restaurant called Trio, which is in Kenwood. Anybody heard of that? Yeah, Trio's. It's kind of a higher end restaurant. It's tucked away, but that's what gave me my fine dining experience. I always knew I was going to be good with hospitality. Just to let you know, I don't know if my sisters told you, but we're half Jamaican. In Jamaica, hospitality is actually like a class that you have to take, because tourism is like one of the #1 things that people do in Jamaica. So if you want to make money and have a successful life, and also be able to interact with the other people around from all these different countries, you kind of have to know how to be hospitable with people, how to cater to someone else's emotions to help uplift them restaurant and go out to eat. You don't just go grab the sandwich and leave. You want to have an experience. So, and then after that, Johnny Rockets, I think I'd worked there. That place is no longer around, but I had to sing and dance. That's when I became a training manager there. And then then years later, I worked at Taste of Belgium, and that was the last restaurant. Yeah, so John Francois, the owner of that, that's an interesting story. So when I decided to do street music, Finley Market downtown had permanent busking locations, meaning you could go sign up and play music pretty much as long as you would want. And so I took that opportunity. I'm like, okay, I need people to hear what I'm doing. I need to be seen. And I also need to make a little bit of money. And so I went down there probably 5 to 7 days a week for years. And this guy shows up one day, has a very thick accent, and he's just making waffles. I'm like, oh, okay, that's different. Like, nobody makes waffles. I mean, there's a Waffle House. I mean, let go of my ego. I'm like, who makes waffles? Like, I have waffles come out of the toaster. But so this, and then, so to bring these two stories together, so this guy, he's selling waffles. It starts off very slow, it builds up, and then all of a sudden he's going inside the building. And he's creating this ideal Taste of Belgium. So I got to see him start as just this guy making waffles to now the restaurants that are in all of the high-end areas. Didn't know I was gonna end up working for him years later either. So yeah, he built up, went from waffles to crepes. I ended up working at Taste of Belgium in the front of the house as a server. And he told us his life story one day, and it was very similar to mine. He had grown up, his parents wanted him to be this engineer and all these things, and one day he went back home to Belgium and he went to a waffle stand. It was the best waffle he had ever eaten. And then he snapped his brain that nobody has waffles like this in America. So he took this ideal, went against his parents' wishes, but with best intention for the future, not just, hey, I don't want to do this. It's like, I have something else I want to do that could be awesome. Invented his own waffle iron. So that's also why his waffles are unique. Like, he patented that little flip down waffle maker that you'll see there. And yeah, he was able to employ me, help me take care of my children, and now he's super, super successful. And I've actually played in this restaurant probably 2 or 3 times. So music is very important in the culinary world. I never thought those two things would go together, but those are very human things. I also worked at Panera Bread. I have to break that.
Not
break
Panera Bread.
Oh yes, what do they call that? The bread cult? Oh yes. That's one I know.
There is so many things that happen.
But when you work at Panera though, they
I
usually
worked there though.
that training video is pretty profound, isn't it? When they talk about how bread is the most important thing in the world. Without bread,
But we always ran out of it.
I mean, well, because it's the most important thing. It's like toilet paper during the pandemic. We weren't there early. It's not gonna be.
But that gas snack.
But bread is the foundation of all human civilization. Meaning that if a society was not able to make some form of bread along their cultural evolution, they didn't last. Because you had to have something, bread was something that would make you feel like you're full. You can't just eat bread and live. But it would fill your belly up, get rid of the hunger feeling, and then it can also be used to absorb nutrients. You can have soup and bread and feel like you're full. I mean, you can be full off of soup. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, crackers and soup, like that little thing is a filler. And America's all about fillers, so, like the words and numbers, make it sweet to taste. Any other questions about, or anything else that I can talk about? All right, well, let me go ahead and try to play some music for you. Thanks. I did not make any homework assignments or anything like that. But as you all are seniors, I will be talking about career opportunities if that is something that you're interested in. Also, anything that you feel is a barrier stopping you from getting to your next goal, I don't care what it is, I love finding solutions. So, yeah, I didn't talk about this, but I did work in the marketing world for about 10 years. So selling things is like another thing I like to do. All right, so this violin, does anybody, well, we've already talked about a couple people play it. So this is an acoustic violin that I have created to be electronic. So I can change the sounds of it from, you can probably go louder, right? Won't hurt anything. want to hear?
Hip hop.
No,
I'll do hip hop a little bit later, but I can definitely. All right, let's start with
I
classical.
will feel it in a
Yeah. Mozart.
Let's see here. Oh, what's the microphone? So why is that?
This would be in the face of stuff.
people don't clap or say that they like it, I have no idea. Like, just remember that. If you ever go to a concert and you want to listen to your artist or a friend, make sure you clap. Even if you're busy in a conversation, just send a clap up to the front. It really helps that artist. Just like if you all are making a meal or something like that or doing something for someone, you want that acknowledgement, you know, you want that reception, like, hey, thank you for doing this, you know, and that courtesy goes for forever. That's actually one of the first songs that I wrote, not knowing what I was doing, but going down to Findlay Market and just trying to play what was in my heart. And that was the scary thing too, because people told me that I could only play cover music. Anybody know what cover music is? Yeah, you know, some song that somebody else played that I would have to purchase the rights to and all of this. But I'm like, wait, music is about creating. So why can I only play the music that someone else created? Like, these other people made music and it helped them out and helped other people. So when I play, it's from the heart, and yeah. Should I go to another genre?
Yes.
All right. Let's see here.
He said,
I want to hear him play again.
That was live.
he said,
I'll try some hip hop. Now, just to let you know, you're hearing hip hop from a violinist that really doesn't. It's old school. I'm old school.
Mozart too, right? Just trying to learn to get to the next level. Oh, yeah. Get with it, trying to make it happen with that music. I don't rap, but I do lead a rap group. How's that working? I don't know. What?
Alright, I tried. There we go. Well, did you guys like that? You got a Scarlet Oak speak now, so. But you'll have to give me the credits for that if you ever try to use that video. I am a licensed musician, so don't just take it and use it. Except for those that are videotaping for the class reasons. So. But yeah, do you guys want to hear something from the actual hip hop orchestra?
Yes.
That was a dream opportunity. There's no profanity in it, so not to worry about that.
Oh.
But when I was a little kid, I went to this church that was downtown Cincinnati, right across from Washington Park before everything got redeveloped. So when we were little kids, every day when I went to church, I got to see Music Hall. And that was part of my dream. Like, can I ever play there? But if you don't know about orchestras, you cannot play an orchestra unless someone else gets up their seat. And that usually means they had to pass away or something like that. So there weren't very many opportunities. Cincinnati Hip Hop Orchestra, we should be at the top of the list by now. Oh, there we are.
Oh, you have to do it with the keyboard.
Yeah.
I can help you.
Yes, I need your assistance.
Hey,
So how this happened, so again, going back to Findlay Market, there's a place around the corner from there called Elements. And I had gone to Elements years ago trying to get my violin into hip hop, but if you don't know about the violin, there's no class on how to learn hip hop. You know, hip hop is one of those music styles that are still from the heart, they're self-developed. They haven't really created classes to just say, sit down, here's how you start from getting in and get there. Yeah, Cincinnati hip hop. If it comes up on your feet, that'd be more awesome. So one day I was offered the opportunity to try to help direct a group of people. All of these kids had graduated from CCM at the top one up there. Yes, we're getting there. And what had taken place was, I didn't know what I was doing. I never directed a group. Definitely never directed hip hop, but they trusted me to try it because they were like, well, if anybody can do it, I guess I was that person. And it worked out. So we got to play, and we all created this just as individuals. The video, all of this was just done by people. We didn't know each other. We just had a common goal, came together, and now we're gonna have a hip hop orchestra every season. I think hopefully for the next few years. We're trying to be like the Cincinnati Pops. I'm trying to think of what song. Yeah.
I remember I went and they was playing Mask Off on Future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just go wherever. It doesn't even matter. Right there, yeah, we'll go there. We wrote a Kendrick Lamar song called Lust. Go back a little bit, probably at 7 minutes. Yeah, right there is cool. It's just showing us actually me with my Pokemon hat. I cried actually. I mean, I'm one of those emotional people. When I got to go on Music Hall, like from where I came from in Cincinnati, I was like, I would have never thought this kid, like, that just had a dream, would be on the stage where these other people had everything set up to be there. And there's me down here with the white tee on. And everybody after this, all of our careers kind of ballooned out because we were already individual artists, but we decided to work together. So when people saw this, we were able to use this to now as our resume. And we did this during the pandemic, so there was no audience out at Music Hall. There's our rapper, there's our opera singer.
Something came over me. Way too hot to sit down. Might as well overeat. Too close for comfort. This blood press my face. Heartbeat racing like a junkie. I just need you to want me. Am I asking too much?
They edited it. I was gonna say, yeah, you possibly. So, yeah. All right, what y'all think about that? It's all right?
That was live.
Nah, it was all right. It's all right. It'll be live for next season. Yeah, especially if one of y'all try out for it. So, and also just to keep in mind, if you do try out for the hip hop orchestra, we have 50 members. You can pay for rehearsal and performance. So by the time you're done with it, it's about a couple $1,000s per person. Yeah, that's one thing about music. When I first started playing music, I was scared. I thought that, all the things like, when people tell you can't accomplish dreams and you start believing that, that's a very scary place to be. And I remember playing at Findlay Market and I was making maybe $2 or $3 a day. I mean, I went from a salary job where, checks just come in every week, no matter how many hours you work, you got paid the same thing, to, oh wow, I have 2 kids and I'm making $2 or $3 a day. I felt pretty foolish. But I'm a very religious person. I won't go into too many details because I know everybody has different beliefs, but God pulled me through. He was like, you stick out there, you stick with it. And one day there was a lady, her name actually happens to be Susan Angel, and we're still very good friends. But she sat down and listened to me for about an hour. And when I looked up, I was like, this person's still there. And she told me that she appreciated the music that I was doing. She was having a tough day and all these things that it meant. And that gave me enough inspiration to keep going. Because I thought people weren't listening, nobody cared. But that was just my mind playing tricks on me. You probably heard that line in music before. But if you're not, the world will kind of try to, how would I say this? Not the world, that's very general. It will feel like in life when you're trying to go forward, there's something pulling you back, and that's natural. We learned about that in physics. It's called resistance, friction. There's other things that can go along with that, gravity. Every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Those things are very true, and those people figured those things out philosophically before they figured it out scientifically. They went and did things in life, and they're just like, oh, I did this, and then I got this result. Let me see if I do it again, will I get that result? But through faith, hard work, and staying out there, I mean, almost all of my dreams have been able to come true. So I feel like, through going through all of the grinds, almost being homeless before, all of those things, I can actually say at the end of it, I made it, and this has been my best year. And I'm still humbly, still trying to make it to the next level, so, yeah. But with that hip hop orchestra, we did not know well, I knew the rapper, I'm not gonna say I didn't. I remember one day we did a rap performance and he was wearing painter's overalls. I don't know if you ever had to do a painting job. He was literally covered in paint. I had my server apron on. We were both leaving a lunch break at work to go play a gig together that we did not practice for because David Banner was gonna be there. And we both did it, it worked, and then 4 years later, here we are at Music Hall together doing Cincinnati's first hip hop orchestra. And this was during the pandemic. I mean, we didn't know this was gonna be our last performance. We were practicing in a room way smaller than this, 20 people. Like, okay, just hoping and praying, like, we're not gonna get each other sick, and yeah, but we're still all good friends from that. Anybody wanna hear some more music, or anybody have any more questions? Oh, yes.
Do you write music?
Yes, I did. Now, wait, what do you mean by actually, like physically write it out, like notation, or?
Like, not like actual, like music notes, like.
Yeah, 95% of what I play is original composition. Yeah. So I write all of it, yeah. I try to. Yeah. They told me that wasn't possible too. That was like one of those things, they're like, oh no, you can't go out and play music nobody's familiar with. But I'm like, well, how did people get familiar with the Beatles? How did people get familiar with Michael Jackson? You couldn't have heard their music until it was written. I mean, yes, people push things out on the airwaves, but I had to stop listening to that noise. If somebody tries to tell you that you can't, unless you're trying to say don't do this because it's harmful to yourself, just try to not listen to that. You can do pretty much anything you put your mind and your heart to. And I mean, I can't put my whole life journey in one bottle, but Marquita can attest for it. I definitely had my fair